continue.
Okay. So I'm going to start by reading the profile of Dr. Wole Adamolekun. Dr. Wole Adamolekun holds a doctorate in media arts from the title. That already indicates he has a PhD, not the one shared on the streets, not the one that is shared in the religious houses, but this one is the one he actually made himself available in an institution of higher learning to get PhD. And we know PhD is not a beans in Nigeria. So Dr. Wole Adamolekun holds a doctorate in media arts. He has more than 40 years experience in corporate communications in downstream oil sector, micro administration, youth and social development, and strategic communication. Over 2.5 decades in top management position in strategic positions, and then is actively participating in policy formulation and execution with special emphasis on organizational strategic communication and research, an international professional teacher and facilitator in public relations, strategic communications and management. He has co-authored 2 public relations books, co-authored 4 chapters in public relations books, and several scholarly articles in peer-reviewed journals worldwide. Dr. Wole Adamolekun is a fellow of Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, fellow Nigerian Institute of Management, FNIM, former Secretary General African Public Relations Association, APRA, senior member International Public Relations Association, IPRA, senior member African Public Relations Association, and member Chartered Institute of Public Relations, United Kingdom, CIPR. As executive coordinator of the Wole Adamolekun Foundation, he oversees its activities in the areas of public relations, tourism, strategic communication, and research. He was the acting head of Department of Mass Communication and acting Dean Student Affairs at Elizabeth University in Aramoke, Ondo State. He remains a senior lecturer at the university. He also remains acting head of department. If you want to doubt it, you can go to the website of the school. You will see his name as the HOD. So the HOD that is there currently is only acting on his behalf. So when he comes, he will take what belongs to him. All right, please join me as I welcome Dr. Wole Adamolekun, who is presently on leave of absence for research and writing project in the United States of America. So that, please, we can put our hands together, even though you cannot, your mics has been, is muted, so you might not, but we are clapping for him. You are welcome, sir. So without wasting more time, I'll move straight to the second speaker. You know, we are in a world that when it comes to gender, you know, people will be wondering why I decided to pick these 2 top people. I feel that we should appreciate our women, our mothers that are doing great well. And then, when you talk about public relations in Nigeria, not just about Lagos State, she's someone to be reckoned with. So I'm going to start by reading the profile of, I would say, Dr. Nkechi Ali Balogun, as said by Dr. Adamolekun, if I'm not mistaken. She has spent the last 25 years in media and public relations practice. She has worked in public relations, specifically in the corporate affairs function, in consulting, as well as television production. Dr. Nkechi is a gifted strategist with intuitively creative abilities. As a result, she's an in-demand industry facilitator, a motivational speaker, and a mentor in her career. She holds a BAED second-class upper from the University of Lagos, Masters in Mass Communication, UNILAG, Diploma Marketing, Nsukka, Nigeria, MBA, Nsukka, Nigeria, Doctorate Research Candidate, University of Lagos. She attended public relations courses in Frank Jeffkins School of Public Relations, London, and the Lagos Business School. She's the former chairman of NIPR Lagos State Chapter, fellow NIPR, member of council NIPR, senior member of the African Public Relations Association, APRA. She's a professional award winner, which include PR Golden Eagle Award as the most outstanding public relations practitioner 2 times consecutively, and a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. She is also an holder of the Red Media Living and Legend Industry Award, which was given to her in recognition of her outstanding contributions to the media industry in West Africa. She's a Female Public Relations Personality of the Year, NIMCA. Join me as I welcome Dr. Mrs. Nkechi Ali Balogun. With all this profile, I don't think in Nigeria we need to have a rethink. When you see a profile like this, I don't know why somebody with a profile like this will still be undertaking coursework or be doing research. Man, we have given you this PhD. Don't worry, you like to make the certificate available very soon. Thank you very much. Without wasting much time, we have to go to the business of the day. And to the business of the day, we'll be looking at a topic: corporate social responsibility in post-COVID-19 era. Then we'll also be looking at workplace challenges. It is no doubt that CSR is also called corporate conscience. Many organizations want to look at the environment to which they have the organization and to appreciate the environment for hosting them. So when we look at organizations that operate in an environment or community, it is very important for them to maintain cordial relationship in that community. And in doing that, so many activities, they engage in so many activities, giving scholarship, supporting, and doing so many other programs like that. So in doing that, that was what bettered the idea of public relations. So I'm going to start with Dr. Adamolekun, because he's the one that has 40 years of public relations experience in the corporate world. Then I'll now go to Dr. Ali Balogun with our own 25 years. So let's listen to 40, then we'll come back to 25. But I'm sure after this conference, Dr. Ali Balogun will also have her own 40, because the number of hours she has spent in this conference, we are going to add it to the number of years. So the corporate experience is now 40. So let's go to Dr. Wole Adamolekun. Sir, corporate social responsibility in post-COVID-19 era. Was there any form of CSR due to the lockdown everywhere? The lockdown is not only Nigerian thing, it's not only United States of America thing, but it's everywhere. So what do you perceive, or what can you say about CSR in post-COVID-19 era? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tosin, for having me. And I'm so happy that I'm pairing up with Nkechi, who I want to assure everybody that indeed she's a practitioner's practitioner. She's a trainer, and she's even more hands-on than some of us that are now in the classroom doing theory. So Nkechi, you're welcome, and I know that wherever or whatever I forget, you are going to fill it in perfectly. Actually, the corporate social responsibility in Nigeria is on and off, and people have actually, businesses usually do it when they feel it is necessary, because every business recognizes the fact that being a responsible citizen is part and parcel of business. In fact, a lot of people respect your business when it is socially responsible. That is, it is people-oriented, it is talking about the environment, and really making sure that the environment is not destroyed in any way. So every organization wants to be socially responsible. But what do we see on ground? Most times, not much, because at the end of the day, during your annual report, annual general meetings for your stakeholders, you want to report that you have done something. And so we hear a lot of money that has been spent on CSR, but really not much to show for it, because most of what has been done in the past is not sustainable. But coming to the issue of COVID-19, COVID-19 suddenly brought the awareness to everybody that this is an occasion where everybody has to come together and really solve this problem, because it was not just a problem of any country, it was a global explosion. Everywhere at the same time, everybody suddenly realized that whatever we were doing, whatever it is that we thought was normal, is no longer normal, that things have to change. And so the COVID-19 brought a reawakening of corporate social responsibility. Actually, when you use the word corporate, you now begin to restrict it to big organizations like the multinationals, the oil giants, the big banks, the big telecoms companies. But really, social responsibility is for everybody. And so what we have seen during this COVID-19 is that there is a reawakening of the need for us to be our brother's keeper, to better your neighbor. And for corporates, it's even more compelling because now you need to worry about the health of your staff, the well-being. If they are not doing well, if they are not okay, definitely productivity will be affected. So I believe there is a kind of linkage between corporate social responsibility and indeed COVID-19. COVID-19 is really bringing the awareness to everybody that all of us as humanity must come together and work together to see how to defeat this very, very serious pandemic. That is where we are, and as we progress, I believe we'll talk more about what the individual experiences have been. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So then I'll go to Dr. Mrs. Nkechi Ali Balogun to tell us what she perceived of CSR in this COVID-19 era.
I want to say good afternoon again to everybody, especially my Edmond. So it's not fair for you to put me together with Edmond. I don't know what you want me to say after he has spoken. You know, I'm a student before him, and he's somebody I have a great deal of respect for. I always looked up to him, and I feel highly honored to be on the same panel with him. If ever I say anything that is more than what he has said, is because the young is growing and you are adding to what he has taught us. So it's not because I know more than him. I can never know more than him. Well, talking about COVID in this era, well, we all know that corporate social responsibility is actually being able to deliver some sustainable economic, social, and environmental benefits to all stakeholders. But we saw, for me, I saw COVID-19 being a kind of what I'll call disaster that is a gift to the corporate social responsibility portfolio, in the sense that it forced a lot of individuals, especially organizations, to rethink, or it wasn't deliberate initially, but it has forced brands, you know, to begin to think of ways to drive their portfolio. And these changes came in like 4 different ways. I saw a lot of changes that were inventive, all right? Inventive in the sense that it was innovative, you know? People didn't realize this is what we could do. Individuals, for instance, a lot of people were cooking, were sending food to people, you know? So that for me is an innovation. And people tried to do so many things. They improvised. A lot of things were not available. They had to find a way of doing that. So innovation was it. So I saw that kind of change. And then there was another kind of change that I noticed, which was intentional. Intentional in the sense that organizations were trying to achieve and sustain their desired changes, you know. For instance, it's like in this COVID, where do we want to be? Who do we want to touch? Who do we want to talk to? Because if we don't do it, we are out. So they started looking at where are we right now? Where do we want to be? Are there gaps? Of course, the gaps were there. The gaps being that people are hungry, people are sick, people are, you know, and then before they knew it, they started planning how to bridge these gaps, okay? Now, the issue is, I don't know if they plan how to sustain it, but then I saw that kind of change. And changes were also evolutionary, they were also revolutionary. And so I think going forward, COVID-19 taught us a new way of responding to corporate social responsibility. Of course, it affected the workplace. So let us now tie both in. Workplace was very, very, very much affected. People were working from home. A lot of organizations that wanted to suggest or bring about a new norm in organizations where people can work from home, they were decried. But now it became a necessity. So we worked from home. New targets, new deadlines, new policies, you know, but of course, that had its challenges. I don't know if we should talk about the challenges now, but when we go on, that had a lot of challenges. But suddenly you find that you could work more. Somebody like me, if I was doing 12 hours before, I discovered I was doing more than 18 hours. So for your work staff, of course, they had more challenges. But then everybody now realized that we could all work from home. It is possible and it is doable. And I think it's a new norm that has come to stay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma, for that brilliant explanation. I must say a very big thank you to Dr. Wole Adamolekun, and I must say a very big thank you to Dr. Mrs. Nkechi Ali Balogun. There's a poll gradually that is on. It's just a one-question poll, and it's for us to know that even as a government of a particular nation, they are expected to do CSR. And during this period, I have friends staying in United States of America, I have friends staying in Estonia, and I'm aware of the amount that was given to them by government as palliative in order to help them. That was part of CSR, for government to show its own goodwill. So if you agree that what Nigeria did was actually palliative, you can bear your mind in the poll, whether it's a yes or probably it's a no. But my next question that goes to our two speakers, we'll start from Dr. Wole Adamolekun, and we'll go to Mom. The question is, where we all know that whenever there's crisis in an organization, automatically that organization is either the organization will lose patronage or possibility of the organization going into extinction. And during this COVID-19 period, it was really a very tough time for people. So some companies were finding it hard to exist. Some companies were struggling, and there are so many issues. So in this kind of circumstances, what role does PR plays in this? Because now we see that crises are bound to happen as far as organization is concerned. Every part of the country, we all witness, or we all have it's a crisis that did not just happen to individual, but to the nation at large, and everybody was trying to. So if you look at COVID-19 is a crisis that nobody planned for it. So many people had already picked dates for celebration. So many had planned to travel and so many things like that. But unfortunately, we just had to find ourselves in this. And then gradually, we are. Do you think that the government actually played the necessary role in this period or not? We want to find out. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. As you said, we all recognize the fact that COVID-19 came in as a surprise, so nobody planned for it. But to a very large extent, whether you are talking about Nigeria, Britain, America, and even the countries that were initially hit, those countries like China, like Italy, Spain, even UK, those were the countries that got the hit when it started. Gradually, I believe people began to recognized the problem and began to see how to find solutions to the problems that arose. For public relations, I think one of the periods that public relations becomes very relevant is when there's crisis, okay? And it's, everybody read from the World Health Organization crisis book. That is, they have a kind of crisis response that haven't responded to pandemics over the years. So the guides they gave helped many countries in terms of daily briefing of people, in terms of contact tracing, in terms of palliatives. How do you help your staff? Because your staff cannot come to work because there's no transportation. There's complete total lockdown worldwide. No flights, no travels, no movement from place to place. So it was a brand new world that just happened to everybody all of a sudden. Now, having said that, the crisis response led by WHO was virtually adopted by everybody. And I think to a very large extent, it gave people the first push, the first attempt to resolve the problem. And this really helped because there was a lot of information going out, telling people how to recognize the virus, what to do if you feel uncomfortable, if you are coughing, if you can't breathe and stuff like that. And then of course, somehow the part of the solution to this problem happens to be simple hygiene. Washing your hand, cover your mouth, cover your nose, don't sneeze into other people's faces, don't shout and stuff like that, and don't avoid crowded areas. You know, those are just basic information, but if this information didn't come out, people wouldn't have known. So the public relations profession really helped in terms of assisting the government, the corporations, in terms of internal communication, external communication, exchanging ideas, exchanging views and experiences, and telling people, because everybody was at home. So there was no way you could go out to know anything. So everybody was either glued to the television or to your phones, and information, a lot of information was actually passed. And government actually did attempt to do palliative. I can hear you talking about America giving all their citizens, so that's what people say, but I don't think they have various types of programs for people. So for small businesses, they try to give them the kind of assistance that will not make them lay off their staff, so that while this COVID is going on, you can still pay your staff. For medium scale businesses, they have different programs. And then for non-employed, the unemployed people, they had palliatives for them. Now, of course, I'm sure you know that that's not exactly possible in our climate, because first, we don't even have the data. Secondly, we don't have the resources. Even if we have the resources, how do you do it? We had what is called COVID. COVID was organized by the private sector, led by Dangote, CBN, the multinationals, that is the oil companies, the banks. They all came together, and I think they were able to get. They were able to gather as much as 27 billion naira, which they were able to use for building hospital testing sites, isolation centers, and a lot of treatment centers were created all over the place. In terms of cash transfer, I don't think a lot of that happened in Nigeria, but certainly the government was able to at least, and apart from what the government could have done, a lot of people actually, a lot of people came to the rescue in terms of assisting people, giving them a lot of palliatives, individuals, just like Nkechi said, individuals within their streets, they will cook and give to people, they will gather young people together, different churches. So a lot of activities took place, and I believe that just like I said earlier, together, working together and creating that kind of humanity environment, I think it has really helped in during this particular occasion. So it is not only government, it has to be everybody from grassroots through government and then to the private sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. To Dr. Nkechi Ali Balogun. So what's your own opinion about this?
Well, if I heard you clearly, it's like you have three questions in one. You talked about organizations that are packing up, if I heard you. Did you? That
yes.
What is public relations doing to assist? You also asked about the questions of palliatives. Like Dr. Adamolekun said, you see, I wouldn't come out to start blaming any government, whether they did well or not, because every government had their own challenges, okay? But what I want to say that there were private sector initiatives, there were government initiatives, there were individual initiatives, and everybody came together to, put in their own, contribute their own quota, so to speak, all right? The America we're also talking about, a lot of companies are laying off, okay? I hear JCPenney is liquidating. There's so many of them. So it's not like it's native to Nigeria or any other country. This is a problem that just came suddenly and nobody really prepared for it. Nobody knew what to do. But then public relations department have played a very major role in their communication strategies. A lot of them quickly developed communication strategies, and through storytelling, they were able to communicate what was necessary for people to do at this particular time. And like we rightly noted, we had the car COVID, we had individual initiatives, like I said, we had so many people rising to the situation that even made government to do more. Some states did much more than the others. Like the palliatives we are talking about, I know that the federal government were giving out money to some people. Unfortunately, it didn't go around the state, so it was more in the north than in the south. I mean, that is clear. But you could see they were giving people 10,000, 5,000. I don't know how many people received it in the south, but it did happen, okay? I'm not blaming anybody, but I'm just telling you what I know and what I saw. But having said that, there's still a lot to be done. There's still a lot that could be done. The COVID has not really gone completely, even though they have flattened the lockdown. All right, so I want to say that if I rating the governments and the people, they have tried. Nigeria, for instance, we have the population problem, and then the fact that in Nigeria we never have a plan B. We are never ready for anything. So when it comes, it hits us very badly because we never expect anything anyway. I'm not even sure if Nigeria as a country has a crisis communication plan. So when it comes, that's when we start running helter-skelter to know what to do. So for me, I wouldn't blame anybody as whether they did right or wrong, but I know that Nigeria could have done better. I know that some states did very well. Okay, I'm talking about Lagos State, for instance, River State, Ogun State. Yeah, they did well. They did well. It could be better. All right. So that is as far as I want to talk about this for now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. We appreciate your contribution. Now we'll be taking this from another dimension because we have students of mass communication We have people who are already practicing but are still eyeing the public relations area, because having listened to all these profiles, we have seen public relations in Nigeria, we've seen in Africa, internationally, and so many people want to aspire to also find themselves in that height. But now we're talking about CSR, we are talking about host communities, and we are talking about the government's role during this period. Now, we need to move to another area now. When we talk about public relations, we talk about publics. And publics or public relations varies. So the palliative were concentrated to the people. We are talking about governments, and we are talking about crises that organizations faced during this period, and that so many organizations were finding it hard to exist, while some are gradually going into extinction. But we have failed to talk about the publics, that is, people that patronizes companies, because not all the companies had these issues. Some companies were actually doing very fine this period. So if you look at it, let's look at companies, let's look at staffs of companies whereby their salaries were cut. Let's look at people who have been loyal customers of companies, and at this period, they are having challenges. So many people lost their job during this period, they could not eat. Do we put everything to the government? Where is the role of CSR in this particular area? My question to Dr. Wole Adamolekun.
Thank you very much. As a matter of fact, the COVID-19, the way it happened is such that, like we all know, that nobody really planned for it. And so the responses that we have are actually based on shared experiences, and possibly in some places where people already have some kind of plan in place. But to be specific, the publics of every organization, and indeed government, are the people, the stakeholders, those people that are concerned, or that any activity of that government or that organization will affect. And we're talking about the community people at the grassroots level. We're talking about workers, employees of different cadres. We're also talking about those people who invested in those companies or organizations. And the COVID-19 affected these people at different rates. The first thing that happened was job losses, because nobody could go out to work. The organization itself is not getting any new businesses. If they had businesses before, maybe it's not being paid for. So the first thing that government and organizations tried to do was to see how do we ensure that all these people will not lose their livelihoods. And so some people guaranteed that while this is going on, maybe your landlords will have to defer your payments. Maybe if you are still at home, you will be paid your salaries. And at that time, everybody was thinking that maybe within 2 or 3 months, everything will be okay. But it's looking very much like it's going to be a year now. And so you find a lot of corporate bodies pulling back, maybe pegging any type of promotion, any type of increase in allowances, which is okay, so long as the job is still there. And then for government, government has no, they have more need to ensure that the people that are employed are paid. After all, most of the time, people are just being paid for attendance. So they can as well be guaranteed their jobs. And while the private sector can actually talk about working from home, because they have the facilities. Every staff will have his own computer. They can link up with their offices. They can link up with their colleagues and do some kind of work. For government, that would be a very difficult thing to do. So when we're talking about the workplace, you can find out, you will find out that what government is trying to do now is to say, okay, from a particular cadre, you come on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, another cadre Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, or whatever. So people are thinking of different ideas as to what to do. But the important thing is that in Nigeria, for example, most people live on a daily existence. That is, if you are a driver, you're a taxi driver, if you don't go out that day, you are going to not go to anything. If you're a vulcanizer, if you don't do that day, you can't do anything. If you're a food vendor. So most people, if they are living from their daily work, artisans and name it. So that was why people were complaining during the lockdown that, see, there's no way you can touch our lives. There's no way you can give us anything much. Why don't you allow us to work? So I think it's a mixed bag of different solutions to a very difficult problem. But for people that are working for government, there are not many. What's the percentage of government workers? Less than 25%. So you still have about 75% that have to be catered for, either by the private sector or self-employed, or, so I believe that the various publics are being uh, are being attended to in different ways, but a lot of people actually have to take care of themselves. And then the other issue is really that the issue of health, the health workers, the frontline workers, before, people that we thought were very, very important in so many things. When this COVID came, it became so important that one of the most important groups of people in any nation are the health workers. They're the frontline workers. And you can see how a lot of them have lost their lives. They've been infected, they've been challenged, and they are even working without even basic equipment. That's one of the biggest challenges that we notice all over the world because of their ill-preparedness. Ordinary, the basic wares for you to be a health worker were not available. Gloves, personal equipment to wear. Not to talk about the equipment like the ventilators, like ambulances, like even the health centers, even the beds. All of these things became a challenge. So when you're thinking about food, you're talking about health equipment, you're talking about facilities, you're talking about so many things. So I think the COVID has taught us a lesson that going forward, there are things that we needed to worry about, to provide for, so that at least when things like that happen, there'll be some things that can be done immediately. And well, maybe when we go on, but the truth of the matter is that right now, because COVID is dragging longer than people expected, people are now anxious. Let's go back to school. Let's go back to church. We want to begin to travel. We want to do this. We want to do that. And from America, for example, the experience is that those countries, those states that opened too soon for business now had a deluge of infections and, of course, deaths. It's been so embarrassing. So now other countries are learning from that to know that, look, the longer you are able to stay and keep people away from mingling and from transmitting this disease, the better. So we're all experiencing this together, and I believe that at the end of the day, a lot of lessons will be learned, and COVID-19, until a vaccine is discovered, may not be a thing of the past. We just have to continue to manage with it until that time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much to Dr. Nkechi Ali Balogun. I'm going to reframe the question just the way Dr. Adamolekun answered, and it's going to be in this way. During the COVID-19 period, I got a mail by my insurance company, Leadway Assurance, for people who did comprehensive insurance upward. So the palliative was to give recharge card to recharge your phones. That was the palliative. So I logged on to the site, added the number for my insurance, and I claimed the recharge. My phone was recharged as a result of that. Now, the company gave back to me during the period of COVID-19. Now, ma'am, as a public relations trainer, what would you advise someone who patronizes a company that did not remember such person during COVID-19 and they were still making profit? What do you recommend?
Well, before I get into that, definitely one of the new things that we're going to experience is that your consumers will remember those who remembered them. That is basic. And that is why COVID-19 has shown us that it's no longer the push experience, it's the pull experience, whereby what your action is being able to pull people towards you. Only those that you were able to take care of will also remember you at this particular time. I want to add to what Doctor said. The health workers, for instance, they were not insured. Our rural poor were not looked after. I had an interview on TVC and I mentioned the fact that there were pregnant women, children, toddlers and all that. Nobody's taking care of them. And you say, go and do education online. Did you remember the rural poor? They don't have lights. They don't have basic tablets to do education online. So how are you going to cater for these people? Now, even the employed ones, do they have lights? There's this generator they call, is it I better pass my neighbor? All right. If organizations wanted to actually make sure that workers are doing, will meet up with their job descriptions, or their targets, did they provide them the infrastructure? Did they provide them with the things they need to work from home? Knowing fully well that some of them don't have lights, knowing fully well that some of them may not also have money to buy enough data, knowing fully well that some of them don't know handsets, like, is it MTN that calls the Palasa phones? So how are they actually going to do this? Now, it might shock you also to know when I would say that maybe government didn't really do that much. Social report of the Social Enterprise Report by True Contact of 2019 states that there is an annual budget of 35 billion contributed from from private sectors and service sectors for corporate social responsibilities. From oil and gas alone, we have 15 billion naira. From banking, we have 13 billion. From telecommunications, I think we have 5.6 billion. Now, imagine if with all these billions, we were able to give the rural poor 500 naira every day from the beginning of COVID to this time. It will not be too much. Even the banks that you're talking about, even the lead assurance you're talking about, fine, they did take an initiative. But recharge card, who cares about recharge card? There were some other issues, okay? That same leadway assurance can say, okay, let's give our customers, there are not many, 500 naira every day. In a month, it will be more than 7 million. I can assure you, I've calculated it. It will not even be up to 7 million. And for 3 months, that's 21 million. I think they could cover that. But nobody did that. Even the government that said they are giving things, they tie a loaf of bread and one small sachet of gari to go and give. Where would that get to? So you find that people still needed to go out to work. And like Dr. Adamolekun said, the truck pusher who feeds on 300 naira every day, you are telling him to stay at home for 5 months to die? Or is it the Yalakara that bakes akara and sells and makes profit of 300 naira or 200 naira, or even gives the family food from there. We have so much money to share. I'm not saying Nigeria has so much money, but there was a budget for CSR. Where did it go to? How come we are finding it difficult to even buy the necessary equipment to fight COVID-19? So I want to believe that this budget annually, let's say maybe it just started, but at least in the past 3 years, multiplied by 3. So these are the kind of things we are talking about. But luckily, we have a population that are very resilient and very tenacious, and they were able, some of them came up with a lot of things. Some of them were able to survive through their own personal hard work. And so going forward, there's so much that we can do. There are new trends that COVID-19 is bringing to us. And those new trends, whether we like it or not, we must begin to look at it to make sure that whatever we did now is sustainable, all right? Because some of the things that we did, and I'm not sure that your legal assurance is still giving you that recharge card, are they?
It's just once.
It shouldn't be once. It shouldn't be once. Then it's not CSR. If it's not sustainable, if it does not lead to a sustainable thing, then it's not CSR. They just did it, and if you ask me, they were promoting their business, making sure it stays alive, making sure you don't forget them. So going forward, we must see how we can continue to do some of those things that we did now and continue to do them so that we come up with a new CSR policy that will help each and every individual in this country.
Thank you very much, Ma. Very soon we'll be moving to question and answer segment. But before that, I want to ask our speakers this question. To those people who are interested in knowledge, who came across the design for this program, and who are curious to know what CSR and the benefit of CSR is. I want Dr. Wole Adamolekun is a teacher. He has over 40 years experience in the corporate world, and Dr. Nkechi Ali Balogun is also a trainer. Can you tell to people that are joining this meeting or those that are watching on Facebook who does not even know what CSR is and what is expected, who are expected to do CSR? Can you please provide answers to this meet? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to acknowledge the fact that I can see some of our students from Elizade at this meeting. And I believe that we at Elizade introduced corporate social responsibility as a course about 4 years ago. And a lot of our students have actually benefited from that course. In a layman's language, in a simple way, corporate social responsibility is actually is the act of organizations, individuals, companies, making sure that they operate in ways that affect the community where they are located positively. A lot of people say giving back, and people question it. So if you are giving back, it means that maybe we have taken, okay? But I believe, just like I've said, I think it is a way of running our businesses, doing our businesses, operating in a way that saves life, that employs people, that makes the environment sustainable, and at the same time, of course, make sure that that business is also sustained. That is, economically, that business can continue to operate. Because really, if the business is dead, then there won't be any way to help or to impact anybody. Having said that, in Nigeria, we sort of pay a lot of lip service to corporate social responsibility. Most of our organizations have very glossy reports at the end of the year. And when you look around, you cannot really see what they have done. And they would have claimed that they spent billions, just like my sister said. All the billions we hear, you can't really see it. Yes, it is true that a lot of the multinationals operating in Niger Delta, for example, they really have no choice but to actually make definite impact, because the environment is such that if you don't take care of that environment, then your business is as good as dead. But for our banks, they talk about art exhibition, and you start asking yourself, how does exhibitions affect an average banker, or an average bank customer, you know? And we talk about scholarships, and when you look at how well some of these our telecoms companies are doing, you can see that they can do much better. As a matter of fact, the prescription is that 10% of your after-tax profit should be spent on corporate social responsibility. But even if they are doing 1%, I believe we would have seen a lot more of activities, a lot more of projects that are sustainable around us. So I would like to close my remark by just saying that the Western world have actually imbibed the culture of corporate social responsibility. As a matter of fact, your customers, your stakeholders, your shareholders, they will challenge you if you don't do it. In our environment in Africa, I think we still have a long way to go. And I believe that every smart organization, every organization that wants to survive, that wants to have a competitive edge, even post-COVID, must actually embrace corporate social responsibility indeed, and in action and in every way possible. It is not difficult. It is very easy, you know, and the thing to do is to be transparent and to be accountable about it, so that we don't do projects that we cannot sustain. There are some companies, I don't want to be specific here, but there are some companies in Nigeria that maybe for the past 8 years, they have decided to adopt a particular school, and they go there with IT, they go there another day with building, another day with laboratory equipment, and they continuously develop that place. And a lot of other organizations have actually copied that. And then we have those of them that have been able to provide roads, provide water, potable water. You can imagine if a multinational is distributing water by tanker, why wouldn't they do a dam, a small mini community dam? That's what they can do. That's what sustainable. That's what is reasonable. When you distribute water with water tanker, how many people will get it? You know. So the point that should be made is that corporate social responsibility in post-COVID era is the kind of bank accounts that you are going to be having with your publics, with your stakeholders, with your customers, so that you don't do one-off programs and then forget it for another 5 years until something happens. So that when we continuously do it and our customers, our stakeholders are healthy, they are alive, they are engaged, they are making, they are living, their well-being is guaranteed, definitely they'll be good customers to us. So I want to implore that corporate social responsibility, with what we have seen today, should be embraced and should be played as it is done in other places around the world. Thank you.
Well, by way of, Dr. Ademolekun has said everything, but I want to also say that, sir, I still want to believe is like giving back. They're actually giving back because they have taken, all right? They may not have taken, I know they bought the land that they built the house, but they are taking the peace of the people. They have taken the, let's talk about environmental degradation. Look at the Ogoni land today. Look at the things they have done all around that area. If you take where we have manufacturers, they've taken their peace, all right? So the communities make a lot of sacrifices to make sure that a particular organization stays alive. All right. So in a way, yes, they have taken. So I wouldn't be really much against the fact that they are giving back. So in ordinary day balance, it's giving back. They're still giving back to society. It's like saying thank you for allowing us to stay in your community to do business. But it has to be sustainable, like you said. Corporate social responsibility is a business approach. It is a business approach, and it contributes to sustainable development by delivering social, economic, social and economic and environmental benefits for all stakeholders. All right, there are benefits for all stakeholders, and these days we are talking of corporate social investments. So it's a win-win situation now. All right, so it's not only the community that actually benefits from CSR, the organization also benefits from it. So that for me is the definition of corporate social responsibility added to what the Prof himself has said.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much to our speakers for that insightful explanation of what CSR is. We shall be taking question and answer, but while we are doing that, it's time for tea break. So please take a cup of water and put this meat pie or biscuit beside you as I'm taking.
You didn't send us palliatives for that.
We need palliatives.
Question and answer. So for people who want to ask question, you can ask your question. Our speakers are here for you to answer your question, particularly the people in the public relations study and particularly students who wants to know one or two things about public relations, about CSR, and work challenges. And when we talk about work challenges, there are so many work challenges this period. We all know that work challenges, salary cut. Some have been asked to go and sit down at home. Some have been laid off. There are so many challenges. So at this period, even if you are earning a low wage, you cannot complain because companies are still struggling to pay. But I think as we have seen it, in case a crisis like this comes up again, we can be able to, as far as there's some organizations to watch can work because you know that you are sure of a continuous pay. Why there's some organizations that are struggling to pay, why some organizations are also struggling to exist. So be that as it may, I believe most of the things that have been said at this conference has been able to open our eyes to some things that we've not been able to have preview information about. And then our speaker also said that when we talk about CSR, it has to be sustainable, not one-time recharge card like Lead Assurance did, or not one time. So even if you are attending this training, and then you think after this training you've known everything about CSR, then it's not sustainable. I thank God Dr. Mrs. Nkechi Ali Balogun heads up a company that does training, PR trainings, and thank God that Dr. Wole Adamolekun Foundation is also there. Is also interested in things like this. So training is a continuous thing. After this program, you can go online, you can read more about CSR, and you can also be in contact with ULECOB initiatives. You know, we are interested in helping you. But there is one thing that is very important is that oftentimes training sometimes we should equip ourselves in order to get the best out of it. And for people that are watching on Facebook, I can see various comments. And I'm going to read the one by Mr. Demola Oladoshu, a retired Deputy Director of News in NTA Network. he said the topic is very insightful and very instructive, that he has really gained a lot. And I'm sure that there are so many people also that are listening and watching us. So after this program, you can go to my Facebook page, Tosin Adesile. You can see the video of the program is there. You can watch again if you are joining and you have missed one or two things out. So it's time for question and answer. If you have any question, you can indicate. Let's see your. You can send your questions through the chat box, or probably you raise your hand, making use of the options over there to indicate if you have questions or if you have comments, because I know there are some professors here as well, which I don't know whether what you have been saying actually makes sense to them, because oftentimes things don't make sense to professors. So in case they have anything they want to correct or they have anything they want to say, the floor is open for question and answer. So I'm going to hand over to Dr. Otunla, and Adekunle wants to ask question. So because we are going to be allowing Dr. Adekunle to ask his question now. Dr. Adekunle, please kindly go ahead. Kindly go ahead. Okay, Dr. Adekunle,
are you okay? Yeah, thank you. Let me appreciate the anchor of this initiative, as well as our presenters, Dr. Wole Adamolekun, maybe Dr. Nkechi Ali Balogun, and my own contribution is not a question per se. You have just said something now. To those of us in academics, we would like to find out if you will make available some of the materials used for presentation, maybe to our email, or maybe on the WhatsApp chat through which you have communicated with us, so that the material can be useful to some of our students and practitioners. Let me commend your efforts, at least to bring people together, especially experts, to bear their mind in relation to corporate social responsibility. I will also want to comment on the way things have been done, maybe in our own country. Actually, corporate social responsibility is not something that people will be agitating for before corporate organizations located within the community will come up to do it. And now such organizations have opportunity to help public institutions, especially schools, where as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, we discovered that we need a lot of resources, especially technology, to deploy teaching. So maybe those organizations can begin to think of what they can do. Definitely, when I'm not speaking for the government, we know our government is not responsive. It's not that they are not responsible, but they are not responsive to things like this. So I want to suggest that if you make available the material to us, and then arising from this discussion, the expectation is that those corporate organizations will be able to start to do more than what they have been doing before. Not until when people are agitating for resources or infrastructure in the community where they are. So my suggestion, don't forget, is that a corporate organization will rise up and support schools within where they are located, so that they can make a provision for things that can make learning, teaching and learning work in this new normal. Like what you are doing now is part of, it's a contribution in a way. So thank you. So let me thank our facilitators again for their wealth of experience that they have shared with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for that comment, and we so much appreciate it. We have another question from Mr. Odumosu Damilari. He also wants to ask a question. So, Mr. Odumosu, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. I am grateful for the opportunity, and I'm glad for this platform. Wole has been in the forefront of the concerns of youth and young men and women like myself across the world. I'm calling from Canada, but I'm a Nigerian, and the government probably does not even know we exist. However, some of us have lost our jobs due to the COVID-19. It's been a tough climate for us. We can be compared to the rural poor in Nigeria, Nigerians in diaspora who has been badly hit by the COVID-19 situation. So my question to Mrs., and we thank God for the panel we have. Thank you, Dr. Wole, for explaining CSR. My question to Mrs. Nkechi is, how can we design a sustainable program for the rural poor? How can we, because probably some of these organizations do not know how to go about it. I am a founder of an ICT company, and one of our mission is to see how we can reach the rural poor and equip them with ICT skills. So my question is, what ways do you suggest, or with your expertise, how can we design a program? How can we have a program? How can we encourage companies? How can we have that kind of avenue to design a program, to help companies design a program for the rural poor within their community? That is my question. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay, I will hazard an answer. For any corporate social responsibility strategy to take place, it will be successful, you must do what we call a needs analysis. All right, I mean, but COVID has also showed us that the needs have varied now. The needs are very different. So for each community, there are different needs. You had just told us that some of you in diaspora, you are like the rural poor, but nobody knows, because we here, we think that you are making a lot of money because your $1 there or your €1 there is equal to, like, say, almost 1,000 naira here. So going forward, that means that the government or the people or the organization have to do a proper needs analysis to find out exactly what people's needs are. And if they do that, that means also that their CSR strategy will also have to change. We also have to align with whatever they have been able to discover. You know, needs override wants, you know that. And so consumers are not these days going to be buying things impulsively, all right? They will look for answers that will answer to their needs. So every corporate organization, every individual that needs to help must first of all find out what these people's needs are. When they have done that, then they can develop a corporate social responsibility strategy, all right? And not just having a corporate social responsibility strategies, they must also come out with ways they need to implement these strategies, because writing strategy is one thing, executing those strategies is also another thing. And they must also come out with KPIs, all right? It's also so and so happens, that means that we have performed. And one of the problems we also have, we don't have any tracking system for our corporate social responsibility initiatives. So we don't even know whether we are succeeding, whether it's sustainable or not. So these are things that we must begin to look at. But I also want to say that going forward, we must intentionally look at certain areas. There's this thing that True Contact came up with. They call it the HIPEF, looking at the health. I mean, I just said I look at the needs analysis. Needs in what areas? Needs in the area of health, needs in the area of infrastructure, in the area of power, in the area of poverty, in the area of education, in the area of environment, in the area of food security. Because one man's need is different from the other man's, So if you can do this, I'm sure we'll be able to come up with a strategy that will be executed and will be sustainable. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you so much for that insightful response. We so much appreciate. And we have loads of questions here. And I think we can just take 2 more before we call it a date, because in Africa, we are becoming time conscious. So when we say 1 hour, 30 minutes, we are always 1 hour, 30 minutes. So for those people who still want to enjoy more, you can go to Dr. Nkechi Ali Balogun's training school so that you can go and pay. And you can be there. You can even decide to sleep here. He will not send you away.
We're actually having online trainings now, and we train even one executive. So you're welcome.
So if you get across to me, I can give you a contact. If you get across to me, I'll do that. So this question is from one of the participants. Her name is Dolakwa Bimbola, and our question is: what would you tell someone who thinks CSR is a waste? I think Dr. Wole Adamolekun will help us answer this one.
I didn't get that.
The question again is: what would you tell someone who thinks CSR is a waste?
Oh, okay, thank you. But before I go to that, thank you, Abibola, for that question. But before I go to that, I just want to quickly mention the fact that the dimension of the impact of COVID on education. During this COVID-19, all schools are closed. And here, a lot of schools have gone online. And going forward, I believe you're going to be having a combination of in-person as well as online teachings. And the good news is also that in Nigeria, like Elizade and a lot of the private universities, they've been able to conduct classes online, which is very good, and even conduct exams also online, which means somehow education has not stopped completely. And I believe going forward too, there must be a mixture of both online and in-person education. Of course, we've always had the Open University and some of those departments in various universities. Now, this is the time for our IT to be improved upon and the infrastructure so that people can actually learn. And I believe a lot more people will benefit from it. To specific question about waste, it is not a waste. Any business that does not care about its environment, that does not care about its employees, that does not care about its customers, that does not care about the suppliers, is really going to go run aground. The success of any business is a combination of all the stakeholders, all the participants coming together and making the business successful. And therefore, like my sister said about giving back, I wasn't really disparaging giving back. I was only saying that giving back, they reduce to giving back, meaning that if you like, you may not give back. But the truth of the matter is that CSR is part and parcel of business. And today, a lot of businesses make sure that they actually do corporate social responsibility sustainably. More than that, even employees want to work in organizations that are socially responsible. And those are the organizations that attract new talents. Those are the organizations that also attract a lot of support, even from regulators, from government. Sometimes they get some kind of tax holidays and stuff like that. That is to say, corporate social responsibility is not just about what you are producing or your services. It is also about the kind of employees you have. Today, you need a very dynamic work environment. You cannot now crowd people together. You almost have to observe physical distance, meaning that two staff cannot be sitting neck to neck. You know, a lot of those things will cost money, but at the same time, it makes a lot of sense when organizations are sensitive to all of these things. And in Africa, in Nigeria, where we have a lot of poverty around us, it is going to be very poor strategy for organizations to exhibit or to declare so much without really thinking of how to impact the people, whether they are your customers or not. Because the man who is a customer today can be a customer tomorrow. So corporate social responsibility is not a waste. And whenever it is done properly, whenever it is done sustainably, it affects businesses positively, and productivity is increased and profitability is also improved upon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. We also have another question from Becky Oburu. A question, this one I think Dr. Nkechi will help us answer this. A question is, PR, why, he said PR has become recognized mostly when there is crisis. Why is it always so?
Because that is what we are.
People know the word of PR.
Well, because that is where we really show the stuff we're made of, you know. Unfortunately, in this country, they don't know that public relations, whatever public relations does, should start from the very beginning, even when there is peace. You communicate peace, you communicate crisis, all right? Coca-Cola does not wait until the sales has gone down before they start doing adverts, all right? We all know that Coca-Cola is selling well, but then they still do adverts. So it's an unfortunate incident in this country that they only remember public relations when there is crisis. But again, I haven't said that. I will also say that practitioners are not able, in most organizations, I mean like 50% organizations, those who practice PR have not also been able to let their organizations know the benefits of public relations. So you find that even the organizations where they work do not really understand what PR is all about. So they know that PR is about taking pictures, about smiling with pretty face, your MD shaking somebody on the first page, but that is not public relations. Public relations is much more than that. Public relations analyzes trends, predicts the future, able to counsel the organization and its public, and being able to provide an ambience that will bring about a win-win situation that will help the organization and help its publics, whether in crisis or in peace. But I guess that a lot of practitioners are not doing that. For instance, how many practitioners in this COVID have been able to analyze the situation? Even in that March and April, they came up with an analysis, either using SWOT or Akada or, you know, any of the Okay. How many of us have been able to write out something for our organization to say, this is COVID, this is what is going to happen. This, if we don't do this, this is what we do. All right. Oh my God, I wonder. If we don't do this, we are going to be in trouble. All right. So it's not the fault of organizations. So, and then even the organizations that come to you when they have crisis, they are not even coming to you because they know you have solutions. They come to you because you have told them you know reporters. All right. So they want you to organize press conference and all that. But public relations is much more beyond that. So going forward, for those of us listening to me, please go and study what public relations is all about, and then the tools you have in public relations, and then the benefits of public relations, so that your organizations will begin to refer to you even when there is no crisis. My mom should talk more. He's
Thank you very much.
Is my father in PR. Thank you so much.
Okay, briefly, okay, we'll be allowing a round-of speech from each of the speakers just briefly. So I think at that particular time, Egbon will be able to speak at that time. But before that, I want us to hold something very seriously. And one of the questions that was asked by one of the participants, Mr. Odumosu, how can a company design a sustainable CSR plan? How can a company design a sustainable CSR plan? So possibly in our round-up speech, I want us to, each of the speakers to just nip it in the bud, just so that companies or business owners or engineers that are watching this program can take advantage of that, how to design a sustainable CSR plan. Not just one approach, not just one time show and you just go into extinction. So at this point in time, I'll be handing over to Dr. Adamolekun for his round-up speech, and after which we'll go to Dr. Nkechi Ali Balogun as well for a round-up speech. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me, and to say that this has been a very useful experience. I've learned a lot, and I believe that going forward, corporate social responsibility may just receive a boost as a result of the experiences we're having now. To be specific, I think Nkechi actually answered the question about how do you prepare a CSR plan for an organization. Most of us in public relations, we run away from data, we run away from research. And the only way you can be different from the run-of-the-mill publicity person is actually doing through research and using data. She said you need to do a business needs analysis, meaning that if you wanted to help a particular community, whether it is rural, whether it is city, whether it is urban, whatever, you need to find out who are these people, what is it that they need, how are they, what is it that they do, what are the kind of resources they need to get. And in the process of asking these questions, the answers that you get helps you to be able to prepare a business plan for anybody who wants to do CSR, wherever that place it is going to be. And incidentally, during this COVID-19, a lot of data has been made available, such that today, if you go online, you can see live data about COVID-19, the number of cases, the number of those people who have recovered, and the number of people that died, and then of course those people who are still actively being treated. You can actually see that a lot of information has been passed. But this morning, incidentally, I read something about Tanzania, whatever, and where they said there's nothing like COVID, or COVID has been defeated, and people are talking about saying, you know. But anyway, the truth of the matter is that these days we have to be transparent and accountable about whatever we are doing. And COVID-19 has actually played that very, very well. A lot of information about consultants like Edelman, Trust Barometer, Deloitte, and Nkechi was talking about True Contact. A lot of Lagos Business School, Harvard Business School, so many. And I think this is really, these are the kind of information that is helping people and to give people hope, to let people know when we are reaching a plateau, when it is getting too much, and when it is reducing. And so, rounding up, I want to once again thank for this initiative and for inviting me to partake in this program. Thank you very much, and I thank all our participants who have asked questions. And I've seen a lot of people from different places, from different walks of life that have attended this program. Thank you very much. And thanks, Nkechi, for partnering with us on this program. Thank you, Tosin. I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so very much, sir. At this point in time, we would allow Dr. Nkechi Ali Balogun to give our own rounding speech. she also nip it in the bud. What's the question on how can a company design a sustainable CSR plan, not a one-time approach?
Well, I want to start by thanking you for inviting me to this program. I'm very, very delighted and also humbled by the fact that I could sit beside my Egbon in a panel. I thank God for that. I also thank God because my Bible says that you name those things that be not as if they were. Today you have prophesied unto my life that I am Dr. Nkechi Ali Balogun. I receive it and I know it will come to pass. So anybody that is listening is not me. It's Tosin that prophesied. All I did was receive, and I received it. Going forward, I think COVID-19 has taught us a lot of lessons. It has showed us that there are many things we can still do as a nation, as an organization, and as individuals to reach out to people who are in need. It has also showed us the faults in our CSR policies and CSR strategies. And most importantly, it has also showed us that there's a lot of revolutions in terms of how we go about our businesses, okay? We don't have to employ everybody. We may not have the space. Everybody does not have to come physically to the office. So for instance, the millennial who are very restless, they don't want to stay in an office, you can employ them. All you need to do is let them know their deliverables. As once they are able to meet up their task, you don't care whether they were doing the work from the bathroom anyway. Your deliverable will not say, oh, I got this result from the toilet. No, all they are interested in is what you are able to do. And I feel that government, yes, I'm not one of those that put down my government that they didn't do at all. I know we could do better because we have all it takes. We have the both human and man materials to do so much. So I want them to go back again to the drawing board and see, learning from the experiences of COVID, see what they can do better going forward. And I will also end by saying that it is not just a government thing. It is also an individual thing. What are the little things that all of us can also do to contribute to the better living or standard of living for every human being that is around us? You can give to your neighbor. You can share. There's so many things you can do, but make sure whatever you do, you are able to sustain it. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. At this junction, we need to say a very big thank you to our speakers, Dr. Wole Adamolekun and Mrs. Nkechi Ali Balogun. It will surprise you that I've been in talks with them since yesterday. Even before Dr. Adamolekun went to sleep in the midnight, we still spoke. He was actually preparing for this conference, and he also called to congratulate me this morning. Likewise, Mr. Nkechi Ali Balogun. And I feel this is going to all of us over there that what is worth doing at all is worth doing well. Please, I want us to go with that. And as I appreciate you once again, I want us all to, you can on your camera, wherever you are. It will be nice for all of us to have a paparazzi picture. Let's take a group photograph as we round up the program. It's you can switch on your camera so that we can all take a paparazzi picture, and then we say thank you. Then if you have questions, please you can send your questions to yolecob at yolecob. You can send your email to yolecob@gmail.com. We'll forward the questions to our speakers and we'll definitely get back to you. So we are still waiting for others, those who are not properly dressed, who are still quickly trying to. So let's just on our camera so that we can take a picture together. Dr. Otula, we want to thank you. We might not be able to take more questions, but you can definitely send them to so please, others, please, can you please switch on your camera? Thank you very much. From we want to say thank you from, I don't know, this phone is Galaxy S7. I can't really picture the owner of the phone, but a million thanks to the speakers as well. Okay.
Yes, Babale, show your face.
Oh, so please, I will start. I will need to on video for people now. So please, let's just on our video so that we can all take a good photograph.
I can only see nice if you are.
It will be. It will be nice if you are not in this picture. It won't be nice. Oh, it's for papa. We call it paparazzi picture, according to Professor Ralph Akifele. You have to do paparazzi. You show your face. Thank you very much. I was still waiting for others. Becky, what's happening? Favor. Okay, Professor Babale, I was still okay. Probably I just on video for Professor. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Don't worry, if you're on the bed, just on your camera. No problem. Oh, I can see somebody here now. I can see Odrayo. All right.
Okay, if you don't mind, I would like to exit now. I've taken a lot of screenshots. I'll send them to you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Nancy, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, my dear. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.